I'm just gonna see how late I can stay up tonight. I'm definitely vibing right now. I am actually very sleepy. Hello reader friends and welcome to another video. I'm mangacaptor. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I have a fun video for you guys. I'm doing a special reading vlog. We're going to do a Halloween reading vlog. So I'm going to stay up late tonight and just read spooky and scary manga, maybe some light novels as well. I'm really curious to see how much I'll be able to read, and I'm also curious just how tired and how much regret I'll have tomorrow morning. I just finished decorating some really cute Halloween cupcakes for this special occasion, so I am just very excited for this. And as you can tell right now, it is daytime, so I'm going to meet up with you guys again once night falls, and we'll see how much spooky, scary stuff we can read. I'll see you guys in the next clip. But before we continue, I'd like to share with you today's sponsor, Sakura Co. Sakura Co is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional and authentic Japanese snacks, including teas and a special piece of tableware. Each time a new monthly box gets delivered to my door, it's a special treat. And this month's theme is Heart of Ishikawa. In 2024, the Ishikawa region was impacted by a devastating earthquake, but its community's resilience and dedication to preserving cherished traditions have shown through. This month, in collaboration with the Ishikawa Prefecture, Sakura Co invites you to honor the strength and spirit of this beautiful region by raising awareness and supporting its ongoing recovery efforts. Each box has a booklet that shares more information on each snack, allergen information, and Japanese culture. Savor a mindfully curated collection of Ishikawa's locally crafted artisan snacks. I love learning more about a region through their local snacks and stories. It's a great way to experience a piece of Japan from the comfort of your own home. I get to try new snacks I've never heard of and support local snack makers who work hard to preserve traditional techniques and authentic flavors, which makes each bite feel all the more special. Each box comes with a tableware item, and this month's tableware item is wakasa chopsticks. These are adorned with traditional Japanese designs and come in black or red. This month's tea is Baucha roasted tea, which pairs perfectly with this month's snacks. It's made from organic matcha stems and has a satisfying earthy sweetness. It goes perfectly with the light and crisp sesame senbei, a popular snack among locals. The bright citrus flavor of the yuzu senbei is delightful. They are handcrafted by the Nakauraya, known for their yuzu mastery. This noto sweet potato was my favorite. I loved the warm cinnamon and sweet potato flavor. It was soft and had the perfect amount of sweetness. If you would like to experience the flavors of Ishikawa and support their ongoing recovery efforts, you can get $5 off your first box using the link in the description along with my coupon code mangacaptor. Treat yourself to a taste of Japan from the comfort of your own home. Thank you to Sakura Co for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to reading. Hello reader friends, it's been a long day and I'm finally back home. I'm all cozy in my pajamas and I've got a nice big stack of manga to choose from for this Halloween reading vlog. I'm definitely not going to be able to get through all of it. It's a very ambitious stack. I'm just going to see how late I can stay up tonight and how much I can read. So I wanted to have a nice assortment of things to read just in case. So on this big list, we have quite a few titles on my Kindle. I have Soichi from Junji Ito. I also have Mushishi. I recently bought volume 3, but I haven't finished volume 2 yet, so there are those as an option. I also have Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito, which is another good option. And that's all I have on my Kindle. For physical books, I have Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 2. I really enjoyed the first volume of this series. I figured this would be a nice palette cleanser between Junji Ito manga volumes. I also really enjoy reading light novels, so I picked out Other Side Picnic. I'm really excited to try this one out. I've already read the first volume of the manga series, and this is like a GL story that has horror elements and some sci-fi elements. It's basically about these two girls that meet up in this other dimension, and together they try to uncover the mysteries behind this other dimension. And lastly, I have One Piece. This is not horror necessarily, but I'm currently in the Thriller Bark arc, and this has a lot of spooky elements to it. There's zombies. It's got a bit of like a Frankenstein inspiration, so I figured this would also be a good pick. I will say that this is not my favorite arc. This is like the first time in this series that I felt some disappointment. I just feel like after reading Water 7, this is just not hitting the same. I'm also just not a huge fan of some of the characters that have been introduced in this arc as well, but I'll save more of my opinions for later and see if I change my mind after I finish reading this arc. We'll see, I'm not sure. But anyways, those are the reads that I've selected for tonight. We'll see how much of them I actually read. I also didn't exactly think this through because my spouse is gonna go to bed right now and they need to wake up early tomorrow. I'm gonna have to be very quiet, so when I give you recaps, it's gonna be in an ASMR style, I guess. So yes, this video is going to turn into an ASMR video. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. But anyways, I am itching to read, so let's do that. Okay, it is 1:23 a.m. and I have finally finished reading Alley by Junji Ito. I feel a little bit bummed about this, but I didn't really love this story collection. A lot of the stories were okay. Some of them had some interesting ideas, but the execution just wasn't super satisfying. A short story collection is always a mixed bag for me, so I kind of expected that. I think maybe my favorite story out of this collection would probably be The Inn, which is about this guy who kind of like loses his mind and decides to turn his house into an inn, and he basically loses his family over this, and the results are crazy. Let's just say that. I'm definitely vibing right now, like reading horror manga in the dark. past 2 a.m. and I just finished reading the second volume of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and I am obsessed, and I just really want to get the next volumes. But anyways, I am actually very sleepy, and I'm also very tired of sitting here on this beanbag. Hello reader friends, it is the next day and surprisingly I'm not as tired as I thought I would be. So last night I was able to stay up until a little bit after 3 a.m. I was hoping that I would be able to make it until like 5 or 6 a.m. but my brain was just done. You know, my spirit, my heart wanted to keep reading, but my body was like, you have to stop. Thank you very much. So I actually read a good amount on my Kindle. I love this thing so much because it allows you to read in the dark, and reading spooky, scary manga in the dark by yourself with very minimal lighting is such a vibe. I was really enjoying like the first 2 hours. It took me like an hour and a half to read Junji Ito's newest story collection, Alley. So unfortunately for me, this just wasn't 100% my thing. I felt like a lot of the short stories were okay. They felt a little bit incomplete. It felt like they were lacking a little bit of like a secret ingredient to just make it a little bit more interesting or to connect everything together. I did enjoy some of the short stories. I enjoyed The Inn. I thought it was interesting, and I also enjoyed Bless. And the last story, the ice cream story, was very creepy and it definitely scared me a bit, which was what I was going for. So I enjoyed it for that aspect. But even that story, I could kind of see where it was going. And that's something that I don't like. I don't like to predict where a story is going and to be correct. I want to be bamboozled. I want to be flabbergasted, and this just didn't 100% do that for me. After I read this, I decided to move on to Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. I really enjoyed this. If you don't know, this is a supernatural series about this girl who has a crush and she desperately wants her crush to reciprocate her feelings. So she goes to the supernatural, summons Hanako-kun, who inhabits a toilet and is like, hey, I want you to make this guy like me. But of course, this wish comes with repercussions, and she kind of gets sucked into this whole whirlwind of supernatural anomalies happening at her school. There's like 7 supernatural mysteries that they have to unravel and save students from. It's a really fun series. I love the style. The character design is so memorable, and the characters themselves are just so recognizable. You could just pull out a sentence of dialogue and know who said it. And I just love series like that have such a strong identity and a sense of purpose in their characters, their story. It's just great. It just feels very well done, very well written. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick up the next volumes. I'm just so excited to be reading another supernatural story that I really, really like. I love supernatural stuff. I love slice of life and I love supernatural. So yeah, very, very much enjoyed this. And after I finished that volume, I moved on to Mushishi. I already read half of this volume by the time I picked it up last night, so there wasn't much more to read, but I really enjoyed the last few stories in this volume. Mushishi is basically a supernatural manga series. I'd categorize it as like a slice of life. We follow this Mushi master. He's basically this guy who understands a lot about Mushi, and Mushi are these creatures. They're kind of like insects. They are parasites that attach themselves to humans, and they just feed off of their life force. And there's multiple types of mushi. There are some that can disguise themselves as humans. There are some that disguise themselves as print on a page. There are some that are like mold. There's all types of mushi. And it's just really interesting following Ginko, our mushi master, as he kind of learns more about different types, saves people who are being negatively affected by these mushi. It's very like creepy, very disturbing. There are some stories that are like not as scary, and then there are some that are just downright horrific. So it's a nice blend, and yeah, I just love the vibe. It's got this eerie, slow pace type of vibe to it that I really enjoy. And then after that, I picked up Other Side Picnic. I've read the first volume of the manga for this. I've talked briefly about this. This is a GL series, and it follows this girl that stumbles into what she calls the other side. It's basically like this alternate dimension that exists, and not that many people know about it. There is some lore about it on the internet, and all of these theories as to what it is and how to get there. And our main protagonist really enjoys this space because it's a quiet space. And one day, while our main character is kind of discovering this other side, she finds herself in the clutches of this monster. And thankfully, there is another girl there who happens to save her just in time. And they strike up this friendship and decide to discover the other side together. And so far, I'd say the novel's okay. It's hard to know whether it's the fault of translation or what's going on exactly. It feels a little bit clunky. And another thing that I didn't really like is that they mentioned Uniqlo, which, you know, not a big deal, but it's a little bit weird when you're reading a scary supernatural story and then someone brings up how they're wearing a Uniqlo fleece jacket. It just kind of takes you out of the world, and it's just a weird sentence to use when in the next paragraph you're talking about this very weird, translucent, spooky, wavy monster. Like, it doesn't really fit. It doesn't feel congruent, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Not the best impression so far with this, but also I'm only like 26 pages in, so we'll see how I feel about this later. That was all I was able to read last night. I read significantly less than I thought I was going to, but it was just taking me so long to read. I think because I was tired, I would space out, I'd have to reread things. And yeah, once it was a little after 3 a.m., I called it. And then this morning I woke up maybe at around like 8 and decided to read some more horror manga because I was just in the mood. So today I started my morning with an iced dirty chai and Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito. You know, drinking a cute little drink and reading this horror manga at the same time was maybe not the best idea because some of these stories were repulsive, but in a way that I wanted. And I'm just so glad that I decided to read this because honestly, I was pretty bummed about Ally. I had high expectations for it. Thankfully, Fragments of Horror is a different story. I really loved this. Like, I thought it was great. Some of these stories are fine. That's always going to happen with a story collection. You're just gonna have some stories in there that aren't as good, but there were some bangers in here. I liked Wooden Spirit. I thought it was creepy and unsettling in a really interesting way. Also, Red Turtleneck was so genuinely creepy. It was such a great take also on this iconic painting of a man screaming holding his head. And Blackbird was a really creepy one as well that had me scratching my head. I do have to say though, I did not enjoy Magami Nanakuse. I found it to be a little bit problematic. So that one gets 0 stars. But the story right after that, Whispering Woman, I absolutely loved. It was iconic and it was just everything I wanted. Whispering Woman is a great example of what I love about Junji Ito's works because I feel like he has such a unique voice in the horror genre. When you think of horror, you often think of ghost stories, demons, zombies, vampires, and you know, Junji Ito does have stories with those kinds of ingredients in them, but I adore these stories that just feature regular old people. There's not really anything supernatural going on, it's just people making messy mistakes and getting themselves in these really interesting situations, making drastic decisions, and to me, those are some of the most terrifying and interesting stories because then you can kind of lean into more of a psychological horror, which is my jam. But yeah, Whispering Woman was phenomenal. I love what it had to say and that it said it in such a short amount of pages. It was a very captivating story. But anyways, yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that I read last night and this morning. So what did I read? A total of 1, 2, 3, like 4 manga volumes. I'll do it in post. I'm so tired. It's actually hit me now. Now that it's almost like 5 o'clock, I'm like, okay, I can feel all of the repercussions surfacing. So yeah, this is a great time to cut it then. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you'd like to watch more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps my channel. If you'd like to follow me on different platforms, all of that information is down below in the description box. I hope that you guys have a happy and safe Halloween, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!